Hello dear students, myself is Dr. Pinkesh Uttaria, working as an assistant professor at Department of Chemistry, Bhavans College, Dakor. So today we are going to start with the last topic of our unit, that is the application. Okay, now let us start with. Okay, so first application of UV spectroscopy, that is the detection of functional group. Okay, you can detect various type of functional group by using UV spectroscopy. So that is our first topic, that is detection of functional group. So as we have seen that in detection UV spectroscopic example, we have carried out three type of example, that is dyne, second one that is ion system, third one that is aromatic system. Okay, in aromatic you can easily identify ketone group as well as the carbonyl group. Okay, ketonic carbonyl group. Okay, then after aldehyde group. Okay, not carbonyl, ketone, aldehyde and acidic group. Okay, so these three groups you can identify by using a UV spectroscopy. So by detection of function group you can easily identify diene compound, enone compound or aromatic compound by using a UV spectroscopy. Second one, in UV spectroscopy example we have seen that we can easily find out that the extended, okay, now there is the extended conjugation that can be carried out in UV spectroscopy example. For each extended conjugation you are adding a 30 nanometer. So if you are having any extended conjugation, suppose if you are having this type of system, let's say C double bond C, single bond C, double bond C, then after we are having another double bond. So this is our system. Okay, in that system you are adding this extra conjugation. So for each extra conjugation you are adding 30 nanometer. So if you are having 16 nanometer or 90 nanometer for 3 conjugation or 2 conjugation, by that way you can carry it out extended conjugation by using a UV spectroscopy. Okay, third one, that is identification or we can say distinction of conjugated and non-conjugated compound. You can easily find out whether your compound it is conjugated or non-conjugated. Okay, by using UV spectroscopy. Conjugated, that is having C, single bond C, double bond C, single bond C, double bond C, that is conjugation. What is non-conjugation? So if you are having this type of structure, there is no particular type of pattern, say single bond, double bond, so that is not conjugation. Here we are having single bond, double bond, single bond, double bond, so you can have a pattern. So that is conjugated a diene compound. So by using a UV spectroscopy you can easily find out whether your compound is having conjugated nature or non-conjugated nature. Okay, next one, that is the identification of a unknown compound. Okay, that is identification. Okay, identification of unknown compound. Okay, now how you can determine identification of unknown compound? Let's say suppose if we are having any compound, let's say in a solid nature or we can have in liquid nature. Suppose if it is in a solid nature, you can have a solvent like acetone, okay, or ethyl acetate or alcohol, okay, or you can have a benzene molecule. So by dissolving this material you can have a graph like this, in which we are having absorbance here, here we are having a wavelength. Okay, now when you are taking any graph for unknown compound, suppose if you are getting this type of compound, let's say that is the example. So if you are having a lambda max that is having nearly 253 nanometer, so by comparing this with the known compound lambda maximum, you can have an idea that this compound should have a enone system, diene system or aromatic system or conjugated diene or non-conjugated diene. By that way you can have an idea. So by that way you can easily identify the unknown compound by using a UV spectroscopy. That is the most important thing in UV spectroscopy. Okay, so now there is another application to find out the polynuclear, that is polynuclear hydrocarbon. Okay, Now what do you mean by polynuclear hydrocarbon? Suppose if you are having a benzene molecule like this, okay, suppose I am having another ring like this, okay, that is called naphthalene. Now suppose if you are having a 3 ring like this, okay, let's say this is known as anthracene. So this is known as polynuclear. By using UV spectroscopy you can easily identify that your compound should have a polynuclear hydrocarbon or not. Why? Because the presence of substituent on the ring generally shifts the absorbance maximums to the longer wavelength as compared to this benzene ring. This is having a higher wavelength, third one, then second one, then first one. So third one is having a higher wavelength, then second one, then first one. So by using comparison between the polynuclear hydrocarbon, you can say that more the aromatic ring, the more will be the pi electron, more will be the pi to pi star transition. If more pi to pi transition, your wavelength will be the higher. So here we are having a longer wavelength. So that is why it is evidence of the how we can identify polynuclear hydrocarbon by using a UV spectroscopy. Sixth one, we can have tautomerism. What is tautomerism? Okay, tautomerism, that you have to first know what is tautomerism. Okay, suppose if you are having CH3 C double bond O CH3. Now this is the ketone form of acetone. When I convert it into the enol form, what I have to do? One hydrogen will shift over here and there will be double bond over here, there will be single bond over here. So here I am having CH3OH double bond CH2. So this ketonic group will be converted into the enolic group. So that is known as ketoenol formation. So that is known as tautomerism. By using UV spectroscopy, you can easily identify whether you are having a ketonic group or enolic group. Suppose if you are having let's say OH group over here, okay, that is a pyridine structure. Here we are having 2 hydroxypyridine, okay, and second one, suppose if we are having this type of structure in which we are having hydrogen over here, double bond O over here, and ketonic group. Suppose if you are having if this molecule exists in 2 isomeric form, then we have to identify by the UV spectroscopy. The spectra of these 2 compounds were found in the favor of pyridine 2, pyridone 2, which is alpha beta unsaturated ketone. Clearly the equilibrium shifted towards the right hand side. That means as we have seen the alpha beta unsaturated, okay, that we have already seen what is known as, that is known as the Enon system, okay, that is known as Enon system. So if you are having Enon system, you know that what you have to add to 1.5, that is 215 nanometer. Here we are having 6 member ring, so you have to add 215 nanometer. So by that way you can easily identify. So tautomerism, if it is having this type of structure, let's say 2 hydroxypyridine, okay, so this is 2 hydroxypyridine and this is pyridone, okay, this is known as pyridone, okay. So pyridone and hydroxypyridine you can identify by using a UV spectroscopy. Now let us understand one more application, determination of cis isomer as well as the trans isomer. Okay, so these cis and trans are known as geometrical isomer first of all, okay, so this is known as geometrical isomer. Now this geometrical isomer can be utilized by using cis stilbene and trans stilbene. So here I am having a cis stilbene like this, okay, that is hydrogen over here, that is C double bond C. Here I am having another ring, okay, phenolic ring. So both the hydrogen here in a cis formation, that is hydrogen hydrogen, okay. Now let us take one more example, C. Here I am having phenyl ring, here I am having phenyl ring. If both hydrogen in a trans position, this is known as trans stilbene, okay, this is known as cis stilbene and this is known as trans stilbene, okay. So this cis stilbene, which is having a lambda maximum that is nearly equal to 283 nanometer, and here transstilbene that is having 295 nanometer. So that is the basic difference between the cis-stilbene and transstilbene. You can easily identify by using a UV spectroscopy. Okay, so that is the another application of UV spectroscopy. Okay, now let us understand one more application where you can have a distinguish between the equatorial and axial hydrogen. Okay, axial as well as equatorial conformer. Okay, axial conformer and equatorial conformer. Suppose if you are having this type of structure, let's say this is the chair form, there is one more ring over here, so I am drawing one more ring over here. Okay, that is decalin structure, that is known as decalin. Here I am having hydrogen. Okay, now this hydrogen that is attached with this Br group, and here also I am having one group. So this is one, we can say hydrogen over here, this is double bond over here, that is a ketonic group over here. There is one more example over here, let's say that is a chair form. Okay, this is a chair form. Let's draw one more chair form over here. So I am drawing one more chair form over here. Here I am having a Br group, and that is attached with this hydrogen. Okay, Br and hydrogen. Here I am having a hydrogen group, and let's say double bond over here, and there is double bond over here. Okay, so this is the alpha beta unsaturated compound. So as we can see over here, that is the alpha beta unsaturated ketonic compound in both the cases. Okay, alpha beta unsaturated compound. Now what will happen over here, Br group, you can see that is in an axial position, this is in a axial equatorial position, equatorial position, and this is in a axial position. So what you have to remember, that it axial position that is having higher wavelength that in the equatorial position. So the lambda maximum, it is higher for this as compared to this one. So you can say the second structure which is having a higher wavelength than the first one. Why this is happen over here? Because that the N2 pi star transition, because here you can see the double bond O and the Br group both are in a similar direction. Here you can see the double bond O and Br both are in opposite direction. So there is less interaction between the double bond O and Br. Here there will be more interaction between the enone system and Br. This is also enone system that can be negligible as compared to this structure. So that is the reason why we are having higher wavelength for the axial position as compared to the equatorial position. Okay, now let us understand the hydrogen bonding. Okay, now what do you mean by, first of all, hydrogen bonding conformation by UV spectroscopy? First of all, let us understand what is hydrogen bonding. Let's say suppose if I am having this type of compound ROH, and second one that is having RNH2. Okay, now what is the definition of hydrogen bonding? If this hydrogen, it is attached with the electronegative element that is having a tendency to make a bonding between the nearby electronegative element. So by that way, suppose if you are having oxygen hydrogen, now this oxygen will this hydrogen, now let's say this is a hydrogen which is having a tendency to make a bonding between the nearby electronegative element, that is nitrogen. So here I am having hydrogen and R group. So now here you can see that this hydrogen makes the bond between this nitrogen. So we can say in a simple language that both electronegative element, in between that you are having hydrogen, that is known as hydrogen bonding. So by that way you can solve this question. So this is known as hydrogen bonding. So what will be the effect for the hydrogen bonding? So suppose if you are not having any hydrogen bonding, your peak will be like this. Okay, if you are having a hydrogen bonding, what will happen over here? Your peak should be broader like this way. So you are having a broader peak when we are having a hydrogen bonding. Okay, when we are not having any hydrogen bonding, the peak should be sharper. Okay, so by that way you can easily identify the difference between the hydrogen bonding present or not present. Okay, so this is the UV spectroscopy application in which we have studied this application. Again I am revising this all application for the UV spectroscopy. That is, first of all, detection of functional group, that is diene, enone, aromatic. Okay, in aromatic we are having ketonic group, aldehyde group or acidic group. Extended conjugation, whether we are having any extended conjugation UV spectroscopy, conjugated or non-conjugated diene system. Okay, identification of unknown compound by UV spectroscopy, polynuclear hydrocarbon, and last one, that is tautomerism. Suppose we are having 2 hydroxypyridine and 2 pyridone, so we are having pyridone, so we can say the alpha beta unsaturated ketonic group. By that way you can easily identify the tautomerism present or not. Cis and trans isomer, that is lambda maximum for cis and trans, lambda maximum 283 to 95 nanometer. Axial and equatorial, whether we are having axial position compound which is having a higher wavelength as compared to the equatorial position due to the steric hindrance. And the last one, that is hydrogen bonding. In hydrogen bonding we can say the when we are having a hydrogen bonding, you can have a broader peak as compared to the absence of hydrogen bonding. So in presence of hydrogen bonding you are having a broader peak as compared to the hydrogen bonding in a polar compound, or what we can say, if we are having a hydrogen bonding, the peak should be broader. If we are not having hydrogen bonding, the peak should be sharper. So that's all we can say about the unit number 1 and unit number 2. Okay, so in unit number 1 we have seen the types of transition first of all. Okay, types of transition. Then after we have seen Lambert-Beer's law. Then after we have seen the 2 important term, that is chromophore and oxochrome. Then after we have seen the what we can say shift. Okay, bathochromic shift, hyperchromic shift, hypsochromic shift, hypochromic shift, therefore stiff. Okay, and UV spectroscopy, UV spectrometer instrumentation. Okay, UV spectrometer instrumentation. And last, today we have seen the application. Okay, so that all we can say about the unit number 1. So these are the main question you can identify. So there are almost 6 question you can have in a theory part. So by the example you are having 3 types of example, that is first one, that is diene system, second one, that is enone system, and third one, that is aromatic system. Okay, so I have completed all the example as well as the theory. So we have completed 2 unit in a spectroscopy chapter. So next time we will see the FTIR spectroscopy. Okay, till then, thank you for watching it.